Wages! This is Fanfiction the 9005, episode 88. I'm your host, Sneaky Devil. Fuck. So, as I was alluding to in the very short preamble, I got some garbage for y'all today. We're gonna start off with this story.
Sneaky, you have garbage for us every day.
Exactly.
Fair enough, fair enough. It's not a devil for get the fuck out.
Mother
Pokemon and One Piece. Pokemon and
What?
One Piece. Do you have any fucking standards?
No, he doesn't.
Hey, Sneaky, speaking of Pokemon, do you think there's going to be an uptick in Pokemon fanfics that are just going to be the after years now that Ash has finally won something?
Maybe.
Well, it's the second
No,
time
maybe
he's won
just-
something. He's won, like, apparently the League and Alola, which is very debatable if it actually counts.
I mean,
Wait,
he's
what?
he's technically a frontier brain.
Wait a sec.
Yeah.
This is a fucking revamp.
Yeah, this is the V2!
Oh no, that makes it worse.
Yeah, boy! So
Even
I was
better.
gone for a few streams and I come back to this.
yeah, boy. So I would like to just make a note here that I am reaching for the alcohol before we even start because I already know what's in the first chapter. Because I tried to read it.
Okay, I'm going to get up for a minute, get some, I don't know, get a drink. Probably not alcohol, sadly. But I'll be right back.
Okay, you do that.
Fucking hell.
I love the Defeating Kitty's voice. It hasn't even started and he's given up.
I mean,
No, right?
just remember, this story has 300 favorites.
Only 300.
Only 300,
It's
yes.
actually it's kind of depressing for Pokemon and One Piece.
I know, right?
To be fair, 300 people found it interesting enough to favorite it, so...
Well, I mean, garbage can.
I mean, it's
garbage
depressing
gets
both
everyone's
ways.
attention. Yeah. It's just kind of depressing for a fanfic that's like 71k. Actually, how long? Oh no, it's been out for a long time. Okay, no, that's sad.
Yeah, it's been out for 5 years and they've only gotten 71k words done. What kind of pathetic man only gets 71k words done in 5 years?
5 years and 300 faves and follows. That's kind of just sadder than just the crossover and the fact that people followed it.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Like, imagine... So this is what I don't get about One Piece fans. So One Piece is fucking huge. You're a fan of One Piece, so you know One Piece is fucking huge. Why would you ever follow a One Piece story that didn't have a massive word count or update rate?
Maybe you like the premise.
Sure, but you're never going to see anything go like it's never going to go anywhere.
Well, I mean, if it's just starting off and you like the premise, yes. But
Oh,
if it's
sure, yeah.
something like this, hell no.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, I've seen stories before. It's One Piece. It's like, it's been written for 8 years. It's only at 200k words. They're just exiting the first arc of One Piece, and it's got like 3,000 follows and favorites. I'm just like, you fucking idiots! What are you doing here? Do you not realize at this update speed, your great-grandchildren are gonna have killed children before this guy finishes his work?
Thinky, you're implying they're gonna breed.
I am unfortunately implying that they will breed successfully.
Honestly, I just never got into One Piece, so it's like very
Well, I didn't
rarely
either.
will I ever touch anything. Like, I remember watching the show as a kid, but that was kind of as far as I went.
I didn't like the art style at all, and the story
Yeah.
seemed fucking stupid, so I was just outdone with it.
Yeah,
sorry,
I
watch it
tried
as a
watching it
kid?
as a kid as well, and the art style
that's
just
a
zeroed me
mistake.
out.
I just had no interest in the series as a whole. It wasn't the art style or anything, so I just lost interest as it went.
Yeah.
And then when I think it stopped airing on Cartoon Network, I just didn't think follow up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it
It's
fucking aired on Cartoon Network.
Oh yeah, yeah. Didn't you know
Yes,
that?
it
Yeah.
did.
For
That's
years.
That's where I saw most of my first animes and stuff.
It's like a
that,
whole
that
decade.
goes from the shelf.
Bleach and Naruto, all the big three were on there, plus DBZ and the rest.
Like, One Piece, in my opinion, is that one philosopher who said, "Behold a man," as he held up a naked chicken. If he had an art style, that would be that. Because One Piece considers anything to be human if it has 2 legs, it's bare-skinned, and has 2 arms and 1 head.
Behold the man.
So the only decent character design out of the entirety of One Piece is Urza Scarlet, and that is fucking it. And even then, I've seen people do it better in fan art.
That's from Fairy Tail.
Is that from Fairy Tail?
Urza Scarlet
Yeah.
is from Fairy Tail.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
she's fairy tale character.
It's the same fucking art style, though.
Not really, no. Fairy
You
Tail's
mean
art
like-
style
it's-
is way more
it's a-
tame.
it's a different
It is.
art. Like One Piece is like hyper exaggerated Western cartoon art style, like Sunday comics, maybe.
See,
Fairy
that is
Tail
what
is-
I know about this.
Fairy Tail's much sharper in detail.
See? You know what?
Okay.
See, Andros has just made an amazing point that Amazon should be paying me. The ads are over, and the only thing I'm disappointed about is that they didn't go long enough for Sneaky to not read this fic.
Oh,
They should be paying me to be like, hey, you could have these ads. And it's just me reading garbage fanfiction.
shit. Okay, I'll take it back. Boa Hancock? Is that
Yeah,
one?
That's One Piece.
That's
the
One
big
Piece.
titty with
Okay,
big titty lady
yeah.
with snakes.
Yeah, that's the only one
I'm
that's
glad you
half
added
decent.
the extra qualifier of with snakes, because that was not going to do any narrowing down.
Big
Yeah.
titty girl! Okay, so that narrows it down to about 25 of the characters.
Oda very much knows what his favorite female archetype to draw is,
Yes.
and he is unabashed.
And they're all, don't worry, they're all pirates, so they have to wear less clothing.
I'm okay with this. In
Something like
theory.
that.
In practice, not so much.
But, so yeah, this is a Pokemon One Piece crossover called It's Not a Devil Fruit. Waking up on a deserted beach with 6 voices in my head can't be a good thing. I don't know, it might be an improvement.
God.
You started with 12. I don't know if it became worse when I realized I'm in the world of One Piece, and if those voices are from my old Pokemon Platinum game. Well, at least I'm not defenseless. Turning into a Pokemon is really cool. So first off, the guy is seriously like, I don't know, hearing 6 voices in my head, stranded on a deserted island? Is it an improvement or not that I'm in One Piece and I have 6 Pokemon in my head at my beck and call? I don't know, author. Is that an improvement or not? You tell me. Cause
Excuse me for a minute.
not that many people die in One Piece, honestly, comparatively. Sort of.
Yeah, no, most deaths seem to happen off screen, and even the ones that happen on screen.
Or like the mooks.
Well, no, a lot of the deaths that
I-
happen on screen are actually typically like sidecast that are like, this is my big emotional moment arc.
Yeah, it's not too many on-screen deaths, and the ones that are, like Sneak said, they're like super unimportant, never been introduced characters outside of Ace.
I gotta step away for a few. I'll be right back.
Alright, no problem.
Like, that's the only important character death we've actually seen. Even the ones where it's like, oh, this named character was caught in an explosion we are told literally a chapter later, oh no, they survived, they just walked it off, don't worry.
Yeah.
Whitebeard died, if I remember correctly, but that's the
Well,
only other person I
Whitebeard died
know.
because of a lot of factors.
Fair enough. I just don't remember I don't know One Piece that well. I just know like some of the name characters and shit.
Yeah, I barely know One Piece. I only know One Piece because there was 2 fics that I was reading that were like, hey, we're gonna jump into One Piece now. I'm like, well, fine.
Were those fics any good?
They were alright. Middling at best.
Readable, barely.
That's the closest thing to approval you get from Sneaky in most things.
Definitely not approval. Overall, I didn't end up following them. I read them all, but I was like, I got to the end, I was like, no. Because, like, one of the stories had, like, 80-some characters in the main cast. And the author had wrote an author's note in one of the later chapters and was like, oh man, you know, I'm really starting to realize I don't have enough, you know, screen time effectively for each character. I'm like, yeah, no fucking shit, you dumb fuck. That's why people don't do that. Fucking shit brain.
I'm getting flashbacks to telling Zara that with some of his dumb ideas. It's never a good idea if you're having that many characters and if you want to try and space them out that you have to like drag out shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, just look at fucking Game of Thrones. The dude's got like 20-some characters in his main cast, but look at all the books he has to fucking write for it. Dude's got over like, what, 2 million words for his stories? It's basically like 100k words per main cast character, so that evens out in the end. But still, it's just like fucking Jesus Christ. It's so dumb. It's so fucking dumb. Anyway. Here is Not a Devil Fruit revamped. Yes, my past readers, it is required to restart from the beginning. I ended up doing major changes to this story. One of the major changes to this story is from first person to third person. There is an in-story reason for this. The battle mechanics, again, another major red flag right here. The battle mechanics he talks about in a book are all based around Pokemon battles, specifically Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, with elements from the fan games. I'll try to explain all of these things in the story, and there's only so much I can explain right now.
I need to get some fucking alcohol.
I told you.
Is there a fucking store for that nearby?
Anyway. So yeah, he wakes up, he's like, wow, what's going on? So his grammar actually isn't terrible, but at the same time, though, it almost makes you wish it was, because then you could at least laugh at the story and how terrible it is, but it's not, so here we are, reading it completely coherently.
I look for alcohol stores near me, and first link is alcohol rehab.
Hello, yes, alcohol rehab? I would like to purchase some alcohol. Google recommended me to you. What? No, I'm not an alcoholic. I need alcohol. No, let me explain. You see, I need alcohol because I'm reading really bad fan fiction right now, and, yeah, it's fan fiction. It's kind of like
shit.
if he gave a 2-year-old a crayon and told him to paint the Mona Lisa with it.
Oh, hey, DoorDash.
Does DoorDash do that?
Apparently.
Nice. Have them go to alcohol rehab for you.
Fucking Uber Eats. Alcoholdelivery.com. What?
You know, a lot of places allow you to just mail yourself alcohol. It's great. Vermont doesn't. I don't know why Vermont doesn't. Vermont's totally cool with you shooting up heroin and smoking a crack pipe, but mailing alcohol to yourself, that's forbidden. That crosses a line. Heroin and crack, that's fine. Mailing alcohol, pick that shit up yourself. And you know, Max, I was actually gonna send you a jug of maple syrup whiskey.
What was I supposed to do with that?
Drink it. It's whiskey. Tastes like maple syrup. Because it's made out of half maple syrup.
Yeah, but I don't drink, so what was I realistically going to do with it?
Listen to my podcast and then find out a reason to drink. I don't know, bribe your dad with it or something. I ultimately didn't send it to you because I was informed that there is illegal to do that in Vermont, and I thought that was kind of lame, and so did the person selling me the alcohol. Also thought it was kind of lame, so I still ended up buying it, but I just drank it myself. Yeah, I also was considering mailing it to you, but listing it as maple syrup. Because of its high maple syrup content.
I mean, that was a half-truth.
Yeah, technically, this is maple syrup, technically. I'm just not declaring the part where it's also alcohol, but...
What felony did I come back to Sneaky planning to commit?
Nothing.
You know, I wonder if you could get away with being like maple syrup flavored NyQuil ingredient or something, because alcohol is an ingredient in NyQuil. I had to take that
Maple
shit in college
syrup
for some time.
flavored NyQuil. Yeah, I'm just shipping this across state lines. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
So anyway, one of the voices starts talking to him in his head, and more or less explains everything. And their dialogue back and forth is pretty shitty. And so then here we go. The author proceeds to refuse the curse. And I mean, it's really classic. I'm going to punch you in the throat if you keep up this kind of shit. Refuse the curse stuff, where it's like, "Oh, cupcake, that sucks," or "Damn shift tree, that was terrible."
What's the rating on the story?
The rating on the
T.
story, I believe, is in fact
It's T.
T. Okay. T.
Then yeah, you can do some cussing.
Yeah. I just really hate it when people. Like, I don't care about cursing. I don't care about. Look, I honestly don't care about ratings. Like, fucking hell, rated T. That shit. Like, come on. You can get away with a single fuck in a PG-13 movie. That's actually the guideline. In a PG-13 movie, you can say fuck once. If you say fuck more than one time, it's a T movie. Yeah, I don't know. American rating systems are weird.
Wait, T?
I miss the old rating systems where PG meant something, and you might come away with some childhood trauma as a result.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. When an R movie was an R movie, is the hard R.
Yeah. I just
An
woo!
R movie was an R movie, and Terminator was a PG movie.
Oh,
Guys was
God, yeah.
aliens.
Yeah, but I hate it when people bleep themselves or replace the curse word. If you're gonna curse, in my opinion, just fucking curse. Don't sit here and be like, "Oh no, bleep." Just don't say it, or fucking say it. Don't pull this half-ass shit on me. I fucking hate it when people do that.
Well, if you tell me your character has some kind of legitimate restriction, like, I can't curse because of my religion, and so you use other words instead of swears, okay, I can get behind that. But otherwise, no, don't even
I
fucking
still
bother.
think that's just cringe. Like, cause I fucking grew up in a household like that where we got beat if we fucking said shit. Like, literally shit.
Yeah.
So we said fudge and crap and stuff instead, and HE double hockey sticks, and it's like, yeah, wow, that really, kept the oomph of the curse and really completely made it so that no one has any idea what you actually wanted to say. So
Yeah.
it's like when someone thinks they're being funny, they'll be like, "Oh, the long nose fellows." It's like, we all know what you're trying to say. You're just trying to get around fucking censors. So either don't say it or just say it. That's always been my opinion. If you're in a household where you're not allowed to curse, don't go, "Oh, fudge." Just stop fucking cursing. And if it's that much of a problem,
You know how angry they are.
oh, well, that's tough shit for them, because they can start saying fucking shit all they want then. Because I'm gonna punch him in the throat and give him something to curse about.
Just skip straight to mailing them a pipe bomb, Sneaky.
Well, why would I mail them a pipe bomb? I'm already inside their house.
Fair enough.
How much of a pussy is the MC that he's scared of his mother finding out, even when he thinks he's currently in a dream? Yes. That is true and fair, and I do know some people that are like that. They were cringe. I punched them until they stopped. Turns out violence is a solution to many problems in life, including the problems that being other people.
Yeah, but they don't like it when you use violence because they either can't use violence as well as you, or they can use violence so much better. State-sponsored violence.
Indeed. True, fair enough. Anyway. And by the way, I don't think the main character is a guy. I think they are female, because later on in the chapter, their male Vaporeon takes over their body and turns them into a Vaporeon and then jumps in the water. And they have a momentary pronoun crisis of how to refer to themselves, as whether they should use the he pronoun or not.
Ugh.
$10 says they're tranny.
Unlikely. Their male Vaporeon, I know where this is going. Oh, shut up, Isley.
He ain't wrong.
But, like, it's just really cringy dialogue and back and forth, too. It's like, I took off the jumper and hold it in air, examining long-lost black men jumper with gray on inside of hood. Jumpy, you are as beautiful as the day I lost you. I immediately put it back on, almost cry at strangeness that is black jumper from being cold. I can almost feel an intent. By the way, their sentence structure is fucking terrible. I can almost feel an intense stare coming from inside me. What? I loved this jumper. Never could find a good replacement. I am not judging. I am just learning.
No, I'm judging.
That is a woman. Guarantee it.
Considering what? I raise an eyebrow at nothing. Note to self, train left eyebrow to also raise.
Yeah, there you go.
Like, what is this fucking dialogue? Oh no, the NDC is retarded. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no. Yeah, so by the way, this voice in the head that's bolded is Giratina. Because of course they are. So yeah, so basically the premise of the story, it's just a really long chapter. The premise of the story is that Giratina decided, I'm real now, So I'm going to transport the person that caught me, question mark, in the video game, to One Piece, and then I'm gonna put her question mark entire team into their head, and then I'm going to alter reality to make Pokemon moves and the battling system a thing in canon, and then I'm going to alter reality again so that Pokemon moves only last for 6 seconds after they're used, and then I'm going to alter reality, like, he does live updates of reality as the story progresses.
Is this a god level Pokemon?
Giratina, they are the god of the distortion world, which is technically the afterlife and technically a Alice in Wonderland reflection of reality.
So yes.
It's effectively Satan.
Not Satan. Not even slightly Satan. Not even fucking close to Satan.
Wait, okay,
that's like, no, motherfucker. No. You don't get to, no. Fuck you. That's like coming in here and being like, yeah, Zeus is basically like Yahweh.
I thought you were going to say Zeus is basically like Satan. I was going to say, have you read some of his myths?
Yeah,
no.
Exactly why I used the example I did, because not only are you wrong, you are hilariously wrong to the point where you look retarded as this author for making that comparison.
Well, the issue is, like, a lot of Pokemon media, for some reason, depicts him as that, so that's
But except for the fact that Giratina is literally not evil at all in the slightest, and carries out their duty of being the shepherd of the dead, just without problems at all, and no point in time has we ever seen Gira,
unfortunately,
Tina.
The fucking...
Oh, you read some fanfiction, so now Giratina's Satan?
No, I didn't say that. I was saying the fan base sees him as that. That's what I was trying to say.
What fucking... Who the fuck in the...
The only lore associated with Giratina that's negative is that it was banished to the reverse realm because it was violent. That's it.
Yeah, I know.
That describes all Pokemon.
That is like its standard.
This author probably just like read some
it was banished
fucking Twitter shit, and it was just like, oh, that means it must be Satan. Let's make it Satan, and that's just like what everyone in the fucking.
I have literally never seen a single Pokemon fanfic, a single Poke art, a single comment anywhere ever saying, "Ooh, Giratina is just like Satan." You are literally the first person since the concept of Giratina was invented to ever say something like that in my vicinity.
If anything, it's more like Hades.
Exactly, that's what I was going to say, yeah.
It's basically Hades, yeah.
If you haven't noticed, Sneaky, the
Pokemon... I've never heard him get cold. I've never heard him get cold Satan, so yeah, I'm with Sneaky on that bit.
Yeah, I've literally never heard him be called Satan at all, period, by anyone ever.
I swear, I saw, like, so many people fucking using that and other shit.
It might have caught on as a fad. We've just never seen it if it did.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Get off Tumblr.
Sneaky. I don't go to Tumblr.
You fucking sure about that?
I don't. I actively avoid that website.
Uh-huh.
Good practice.
I also actively avoid Twitter, so.
Also a good practice.
But
No, it's been doing pretty good there recently.
But yeah, so that's basically this story. I'm not gonna fucking read this whole thing because it's just, it's so long and cringe.
And cringe.
And cringe. Yeah, Jesus, just keeps fucking going. All chapters will be kept to a minimum of 5,000 words. God, that was that was the longest 5,000 words I've ever fucking suffered through. So, on the flip side, we have this story.
Title sounds edgy, Sneaky. What have you unleashed?
Devil May Cry Pokemon.
He knows exactly what he's unleashed. He just refuses to acknowledge it.
Yeah, Devil May Cry Pokemon. This is called Pokemon Dark Slayer.
No.
Yep.
After the events of Devil May Cry 5, Dante and Virgil find themselves in the land of Sinnoh. Will Virgil accept the second chance he's been given, or will he let grief of his past actions consume him? Yes. Feeling grief and regret for Virgil's actions is definitely a Virgil-like behavior.
Only the one review on this thing.
Lol.
This is an
Wow.
amazing review. I like this story, but I hate this author. -10 out of 10. I would unread this if I could.
The reviewer's name is definitely a sadomasochist.
Wow, that's kind of savage.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
I wonder
Oh,
what
good
this
lord.
author did to that reviewer.
5 chapters, 6K words. What the? Wow.
Yeah.
Author has one more story,
the public?
Ava and Devil May Cry.
Yeah, it's an Eva DNC story.
Oh, it's completed. Posted in 1 day.
Yeah, it's also only has one favorite.
Oh, good lord, that's just sad.
The only mention I've ever seen of Giratina being Pokemon Satan is in a fucking Dorkly video. Did you just out yourself?
I know people were fucking talking about that shit somewhere. I don't fucking remember where. It's from a fucking Dorkly video, well then fuck me, I guess.
Bro, you just outed
My
yourself.
videos aren't bad.
I literally have not even heard what the fuck.
A
didn't even know
gentle
that.
bird song filled the air, and the cool breeze rousing the sleeping boy. He sat up, groggy and confused. Since when had he arrived here? He looked beside. There sat his brother. But why was he teenager? He looked up at himself. He, too, was younger. He shook his brother's shoulder. Immediately, the sleeping figure shot upwards, looking around frantically. "It's just me, Dante," said the teen. Dante looked at him, blinked several times, rubbed his eyes, then looked at him again. "Virgil, what are you?" Yes, this is... this is very on-point dialogue between Dante and Virgil. He asked, looking at field around them. "We appear to have been transported. This is most certainly not the underworld." Well, how do you know that? The underworld
He
can
just
look like
does.
literally anything anyone wants.
He just does, okay? Stop
Virgil
asking
giving a
questions.
fuck. It's already,
Yeah, that too.
You know, OC.
Very much so. Virgil is the edgy... Like, there's a reason why there's a Virgil meme out there where it's blasting "I am the storm that is approaching" as he sits on this plastic chair at the top of this giant fucking tree. And that's just the meme. Where
The
he's just...
plastic chair is art.
He's just being casually edgy. That's just what Virgil does.
That sounds fucking dumb.
It's Devil May Cry.
It's
Right,
Devil May
fucking
Cry,
dumb by default.
it's very stupid.
You know, there's other memes of like Virgil is so edgy that he can cut time because that's literally something that he can cut.
Why the fuck is this chair $300 fucking dollars?
What chair are you looking
There's
at?
reasons.
I decided to go like, I wonder how much the Virgil chair costs, and it's $300 fucking dollars.
It does not cost. The Virgil's plastic chair costs roughly $5 at Walmart.
No, it's a fucking custom one then, or someone decided to put a
Ooh,
joke price on
custom!
Amazon.
You know what I should do? I should go buy a bunch of plastic chairs from Walmart and then resell them on Etsy, calling them
As just like-
custom Virgil chairs.
I'm fucking
God
looking
damn it,
on
Sneaky.
Amazon, and for some reason it's fucking here for $300. Fucking
Yeah, I'll just
What?
sell them on Etsy and Amazon for a massive markup.
just call them Sigma mail chairs. You'll just get people buying them constantly.
Oh my god, that's me.
That is literally me. I'm such a Sigma male.
The literally me plastic chair.
You too can be the storm that is approaching. Buy it for $9.99 plus $9.99 shipping and handling.
Right, exactly.
How much did it take you to make this chair? $2.
7 years.
30.
I forged it over the heat of an open flame.
In the fires of Mount Doom.
Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Oh my god. Shut up.
Virgil said, already feeling migraine forming in his skull. Just when things were getting simple, this happened. They both got up. Dante patted himself down. Great, I don't have my weapons and I can't summon my sword. You got anything? I don't know what this person problem is they just... I don't think they ever graduated first grade English because they seem to think that dialogue is not allowed to have anything else on that line. Whenever
Gotta be
dialogue...
ESL.
Huh?
Gotta be ESL.
No way. I refuse.
Why do you refuse?
Because I refuse to believe that the American school system is successful.
That's fair.
That's fair, I suppose.
Virgil tried summoning the Yamato,
Oh, his
but
profile
nothing.
doesn't show his nationality, so
Yeah,
who
exactly.
knows?
But nothing happened. No, we have lost our weapons and are stranded. He gave sigh, then began walking forward, his brother following behind him. After walking forward for a long time through vast forest, they heard sounds of commotion up ahead. Ducking behind the trees, they followed the sound to a clearing. They saw dark-haired girl wearing red coat with a scarf and cap throw peculiar ball at bird-like creature. Suddenly the ball flew open and sucked in the bizarre creature, snapping it shut.
What is this, Kirby?
At her side, what could only be described as a monkey that was on fire, but it didn't seem to even flinch. Virgil looked beside himself. Wait, where was Dante? Interesting usage of the word beside in that tone and context, as you did not look next to yourself. You instead looked beside yourself, which is completely different. Sneaky has started doing the only thing that makes this fic readable, reading it as William Shatner. No, unfortunately, I'm reading it as the author wrote it, with an excessive number of periods.
That's kind of what I thought you was doing, was reading it as the chat.
Virgil looked up. That idiot. What was he doing? Well, it'd actually be Jubilife City, not a town. Why are you lost? No, that's actually how the author writes it. She asked, the monkey disappearing into another peculiar ball as she put it on her belt. Virgil leapt out and placed his hand on Dante's shoulder. We do not need anyone's help. Let us keep going. Now I'm doing it on purpose. Virgil said, briefly glaring at her. She huffed. Apparently this man also does not believe in punctuation.
Punctuation is for people who aren't storms.
Apparently punctuation
Yeah.
only exists inside paragraphs, and if you have a single line, that means it's not a paragraph, so therefore it doesn't need punctuation.
Yes?
What? No, I swear, you have 30 seconds to revise your statement before I ban you.
What?
You just said
He's clearly a Sigma male who doesn't need to use anything that normal people would use because that's clearly beneath him.
Holy shit.
Worth it? Fuck you, Sneaky. You got that out of your system now? He's gonna ban me again.
Do it again.
I wouldn't do that.
Yes, you would.
3, 2, 1. Oh, he didn't. Amazing.
Huh.
Yeah, well, why would I do that again? Say that completely is like, you killed the joke, and if I do it again, then it's not funny anymore.
Alright.
Let's see here. Where was I? Well, that's awfully rude? What's with your snobby attitude? Shouldn't you be back in your luxurious mansion being tended to by your servants? What the fuck?
Fuck.
Like, snobby attitude doesn't mean he's a rich noble. Like, you can just be a dick about
this
dick about
person's
it.
being a dick. They're clearly rich.
Like,
Oh,
unless you're,
what?
Interesting.
like, unless this was something like, I don't know, Familiar of Zero, where nobles are stereotypically snobby, you can make the judgment call on that. Here in Pokemon, that could be about any dipshit out there.
She said, pointing towards his cloak. Wait, so because he's wearing a cloak, he's therefore a rich brat?
Yeah,
Obviously,
only
that's how that works.
people who are well off can afford cloaks.
Also, Virgil doesn't wear a cloak.
He wears like a coat.
Yeah, but that's
He's
not
had an outfit upgrade.
right. But that's not a
think,
cloak.
I think according to the lines, it's trying to imply his coat looks like a cloak on him now or something.
No, it's not. It's quite literally saying that his cloak is too big for him.
Oh, good lord.
Okay.
But he doesn't own a cloak. The only time Virgil shows up with a cloak in the story is when he's assassinating his own child to rip off his arm so he can reclaim it, so he can turn into a true demon.
What Sigma male? Kill your own son to increase your power.
What the actual? No.
You know I'm shitposting, right? Please
I'm
tell
Deserve
sorry.
to be kicked from the server for that.
I've never played DMC, and I can completely believe that this is what happened.
Oh, that's the start of DMC5.
Yeah, no, it does actually happen in DMC5. DMC5 story is not what you play the game for.
No, what you play the game for is for a motorcycle chainsaw dual wielding.
I mean, yes. Finally, you can play the Kensei Monk of your dreams, Sneaky.
Indeed. I will dual wield these chainsaws that can mecha shift into a motorcycle.
Okay.
Look, man, it just works.
It just works.
Yeah,
It
it just works.
It just works. Don't worry about it.
We are running away from home. We don't intend to go back. She eyed him carefully. Why exactly are you running away? Why shouldn't I just send you back? Your parents must be worried sick for the both of you. Virgil felt a flare of anger, and for a moment, his stoic mask slipped. It didn't escape the notice of everyone present. Dante sighed and began pleading. Please, Just help us. We'll pay you back. But we can't go back from where we came. So yeah, basically this story goes on to be more cringe, and they go to Jubilife City and they buy clothes. Now you might be going, Sneaky, if they don't have any weapons, and they don't have any money, how do they buy clothes? And the answer you see is very simple. The author said they bought clothes.
Ah, yes. How could we have been so blind?
Exactly. Everyone should know that when the author says they bought clothes, that means they bought clothes and they don't have to pay any money because that's how the economies work.
They're a communist state.
I said economies, but yes, also that. So that was that story. I don't think this one was that bad. It's just I didn't feel like reading Yeah, so this is a Destiny Mass Effect crossover based off of a short one-shot that then got turned into a longer story about the Hive from Destiny invading Mass Effect on Eden Prime, and a single Guardian slipped through the Hive portal to go fight off the Hive from Mass Effect, and then he closed the Hive portal, trapping himself in the Mass Effect universe. Starting at Mass Effect 1.
Okay.
I was not overly interested in it due to the author's other stories. Also, very amazing lines like this. I need to know if your AI is going to cause problems, pointing at his ghost. We have one of our own on board, but I don't want any cyber work. But I don't want any cyber. What the fuck? Jesus Christ. I need to know if your AI is going to cause problems. We have one of our own on board. I don't want any cyber warfare one board. Glint is an AI, he says, before realizing she was talking about Glint. The ghost. The Destiny ghost. He's sentient construct. What's the difference between a sentient energy construct and an AI? Well, you see, an AI is software and is not real and can't feel real things like real people. Ghosts can feel real things like real people and therefore are real.
Just BTFO all the AIs.
You can't believe you talk about Cortana that way.
No,
I'm sorry, when did we switch to Mass Effect?
Yes.
And Destiny.
We switched because the story was cringe.
We switched cringe for more cringe.
Yeah,
Yes.
I found the story on Nose's favorite list, so I knew we couldn't read it.
Oh, good lord, you have trash taste.
Bro, I don't even have a fucking fanfiction net account.
I think somebody is not telling the truth.
I don't. You can fucking check for my name. It's literally not there. And
Well,
Sneaky, I know you're
obviously-
listening. If you fucking make one with my name, I swear to God, I will come to your house and break something you like.
I know your email address, so I'm actually going to go make one with your name right now. I'm going to favorite a whole shit ton of really
Fuck
bad
you.
fan fiction.
I know your phone number. I'm gonna start selling that to people in game and Dota now.
Go for it. I'll just block them all. And then I'll sue you for harassment.
That's what
I
you-
can technically do that to you, so you better be careful about the two-way street. Fucker.
Actually, I can't because I'm signing you up for a service which is not constituted as harassment, while you are distributing a personal phone number to large amounts of strangers online, which
Are
does
you forgetting
constitute
what
as
we used to
harassment.
do?
Yes, except for the fact that there is a legal limit on that, and you never reported it. So, Lamau.
Statute of limitations.
Sneaky has outplayed you.
Get on my level, son. You have to commit at least 6 more tax felonies.
Damn, I'm only at 3. I gotta bump those numbers up.
Yeah, I got pumped them numbers.
Rookie numbers.
Indeed.
The average New Jerseyan versus fucking average.
And here I feel
Why
bad
is
for not
it?
having
Why
enough
is
text
it?
buddies.
It's like fucking these two states.
So also, Glint is racist. The racist ghost. Glint the racist ghost. Garrus asks, what are you feeling right now? And Glint goes, I am frightened of you. Where we come from, if it isn't human, it's trying to kill you.
Based.
To be fair, that is common.
He's
Yeah.
not technically wrong.
He is
Yeah.
quite wrong, actually.
Well, fair. To
The
a point.
Exos aren't trying to kill you. The Awakened aren't trying to
Exos
kill
were
you.
human.
Okay, fair.
We're human.
The
Those were derived from human.
yeah, but they're not human.
They are human.
They are not the species Homo sapien.
Exos are literally human consciousness in a robot body, while the other ones are evolved humans who were subjected to space magic, basically. They're fucking human. Or close enough.
I don't know, man.
They came from humans, okay?
Oh, because that makes them instantly trustworthy.
Slightly more than, oh, I don't know, every other creature that's the universe.
Possibly. Possibly.
I mean, the only other sentient species that can communicate are those big ugly fuckers, and their communication tends to be in DACA.
Let's see. Blah, blah, blah. Normandy is a frigate, making this Guardian. So yeah, this Guardian that charged through a hive portal and fought off the hive, a total hive invasion of a new reality. He, a single Guardian, fought it all off, is jumping in fright from a speaker turning on and someone talking through it.
Yeah, even for Crow, that is bitch attitude.
Yeah, that's a negatory.
He wouldn't jump at that. He's mellow or meeker with some handling, but he's not that timid.
Especially not a crow that charges through a hive portal into a new reality to singularly defend it against a hive invasion alone.
That'd be something Cade would do.
Nah, Cade is a bit more flippy. He wouldn't jump at every little thing.
Oh, I'm not saying he would jump at every little thing. He would definitely quip at
Oh,
it,
yeah.
though.
Fair.
Or, you know, depending on the situation, trick shot it and be like, oh, sorry, I'm jumpy.
Oh, absolutely.
Fair enough. That is also true.
I am very jumpy. Please don't startle me, says a man with gun.
So they scan the Guardian, and they're like, he's malnourished and anemic, and he needs to eat more food. Do Guardians need to eat food?
Yes and no. Like, they perform better if they're eating food. If they don't, they die and get rezzed, and they're okay again.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay. So yeah, apparently, however, in this AU, getting res doesn't get rid of malnourishment or anemia. Because reasons. Crow was starving. He hadn't eaten in weeks, blah, blah, blah. He took off his armor, took a shower. Yep. Shepard's a female sentinel, done the loyalty missions for all these characters. Crow doesn't have a healthy mindset. Yeah, sure. Anyway, honestly, a fairly boring story. You might be able to understand why I wasn't too, pumped to keep reading. So instead, let's read this one. This is a Mass Effect Stellaris crossover, because we all know Stellaris makes for the best crossover material. Right, gentlemen?
It has to.
Yeah.
If it was a very heavily modded game, then sure.
Oh, yeah, no, don't worry.
Why
It's not only a heavily modded game of Stellaris, there's over 30 species in the International Compact, and the entire first chapter is the author describing them all to you.
I see. So this is just his game that he played solo,
Yes.
huh?
Jesus.
This is just his game that he played, where he made a super OP version of humanity, and they went on to unite the entire galaxy underneath their banner, including all of the forgotten ancient empires, and now they're exploring this new galaxy, and they find the Mass Effect universe people stuff.
A new gal. Get the fuck out.
Imagine doing that with an OP race instead of a just malnourished race, little Lamau.
Yeah, there's a lot of heavy implications considering the kind of tech that Stellaris has. Just available on the trees.
I was gonna say, aren't there like active like star destroying artifacts?
Oh, quite literally, yes.
Yeah.
There's even a, if you consider what's canonical, there's a canonical space laser beam that shoots a laser at a sun in another solar system to blow it up from another solar system.
Whoa.
So, yeah. And by the fact that they're using Flurkin and some other races that they list in here. Also, by the way, the Great Khans, they didn't rebel, and instead, in this playthrough, he managed to treaty with them into becoming a normal faction. Instead of being a crisis that everyone has to fight.
That doesn't sound like a thing you can do.
It's not. Without mods. Yeah, like I said, I know he's using at least the Gigastructures mod due to some of the species names involved in this giant list of species names. Also, the Necroids are in this playthrough, and they totally know everything there is to know about Mass Effect. Because they were actually there when the Reapers first ascended, because they've actually been around for 100 kajillion years.
All 2-something billion years?
Yeah.
Sounds like bullshit to me.
Yeah.
Alcohol.
They've known about it the whole time. And let's see here. Shepard. Okay, so yeah. Then he has his super soldiers, which is based on the Spartan project from Halo, except the humans that are produced from the super soldier project are called Dragoons, and they are 15 feet tall.
Okay, but why though?
And Commander Shepard is one of these Dragoons. Also
to compete with Warcraft.
Yeah, also one of the Chozo are here. Yeah, there's Chozo. Yeah, the Samus, the species that picked Samus up. Yeah, they're here. They're part of the Alliance as well. They also have a Spartan super soldier, Dragoon, that's also 15 feet tall.
That's fucking dope.
Also, there's a dragon. It's just a dragon.
Just a dragon. There's just a dragon there.
Yeah, it's just a dragon. Also, it's a super soldier.
Is he dragging these?
He's dragging some nuts. Skeletor's also here with his mobility cane.
The question is he nice?
He's on the good guy side this time around.
But he's not nice.
No.
Well, he's Skeletor. Of course, he's not nice.
Everyone knows.
And so they're like, hey, super soldiers, we're gonna send you into the Mass Effect universe, and you gotta go beat up the Reapers and possibly end or capture the Citadel. Any questions? And they're like, oorah! And so
You're not in the United Nations Space Corps. You're not allowed to say "hoorah" like that. Come on.
So they all teleport in to where their observer probe got destroyed by the Batarians, and the Batarians are like, "Bogey 6 o'clock, get on them guns, gun them down."
Yes, the death of Batarians, the best part of any Mass Effect game.
Yes, Adeptus
I refuse
Batarianacanus.
Batarians do need to die.
Yes. How can you tell it's a Mass Effect fic? Well, have the Batarians been kicked yet?
There you go.
There shall never be a peaceful galaxy unless the Batarians are gone.
Blah blah blah, the Batarians are evil and bad, blah blah blah, mistreating their slaves, blah blah blah, they beat up Turians for fun. Blah blah
Also,
blah.
murder and jaywalking?
Huh? Also, they dug a massive pit where everyone shit into it, and they all tossed the dead bodies of dead slaves in there too.
That sounds like some arson, murder, and jaywalking bullshit.
And then Shepard drops down in front of one of the Batarians and starts shouting at him. And he's like, "Who the fuck are you?" And then he tries to kill them, and he's like, "Fuck you! Speak my language, bitch!" And Shepard goes, I don't speak it, but now I do, haha. And he rips all of his memories out of his brain because she's a psychic.
How do that work?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, she
Don't
just has the
question
ability
it.
to do that.
Just don't worry about it.
That's fucking dumb.
Yes, and?
And it shouldn't have fucking been done.
Yes.
Gosh. And they're like, oh shit. How are we supposed to take a whole planet with only 6 soldiers? We're in too deep to get back up now. And then Skeletor is like, I am a necromancer. I can raise a bunch of zombies covered in feces and cause them to charge at the enemy.
I beg your pardon.
And so the scientist goes down to the planet and is like, Lamau, mass raised dead, and causes a giant swarm of shit-covered zombies to rise up out of the ground and charge at the Batarians and rip them apart.
You weren't joking about Skeletor.
No.
I don't... Is Skeletor even a necromancer in the show? Is he?
I don't think so.
Doesn't
Yeah, I was
matter,
gonna say, does the author think he's fucking Nagash now?
I guess.
I mean, there is very much an overlap. Not that much.
Also, they all wear scale mail, which is based off of the DXD scale mail system.
Of course.
What?
Yeah.
The
And,
zombies wear scale mail.
No. The Dragoons wear scale mail.
But they said they had power armor, didn't they? Oh my fuck.
Yeah, they have power armor. The power armor is scale mail.
Really?
Also, you have to be naked to wear it.
Really?
And they were like, oh, well, because we aren't going to be flying around, we are not going to wear the heavy scale mail. Instead, we're going to wear the light scale mail.
I cannot ever foresee this going wrong. Nope, not one bit. Nothing could possibly go wrong here.
Everything goes horribly wrong.
Suit zombie, blah blah blah. What about us? Let's try to get you freed. They were intentionally stripped of universal communication so they couldn't talk to each other. Somebody get under control. Get back to work. And then the zombies start ripping the Batarian apart again. And then with a single kick, the Chozo broke down the gate to the barracks. And so they had killed everyone that was bad and saved all of the people that were slaves. And now they were gonna send all of the slaves home. Situation is going to be complicated. Many slaves are born in captivity. Others are recognized by the Sentinel Counselor for failing them, both not adequately defending Kelly, not rescuing them afterwards. Gratitude, sense of security, very effective motivations. Not all of our allies are going to be the kind of things you're going to approve of. You already caused a zombie apocalypse. What can be worse than a zombie apocalypse? A dropship then proceeded to lower down to the ground. With a.
Did you have the fucking flood in it?
No, a familiar mass of tentacles that was a custodian AI.
Is that the Pooty things?
No, the custodian AI looked like this.
So it's not the thing from Halo.
No.
Okay.
Let's see, is there a good image of them? Basically, it's just a ball with a bunch of tentacles coming off of it. Metal tentacles. Because it's a robot.
Okay.
Yeah. And then everyone panicked because a machine stepped out of the dropship. And Omega was evil and bad. And then back to the STG reacting to this, and the STG were evil and bad. And they were like, oh no, people are freeing slaves. This is bad.
Oh no. Anyway.
And then, not a half a mile away from the council, who were talking about how they're evil and bad and how people freeing slaves is evil and bad, a Krogan is drinking. And someone contacts the Krogan, and they're like, hey, Krogan, you should go meet these people that are evil and bad. And the author's trying to really keep in the air who this mysterious drinking Krogan is. And then right at the end, they're like, it's Rex!
To the surprise of nobody?
Yeah, to the surprise of nobody. So yeah, that was Stellar Effect Chapter 1. Riveting, right?
Absolutely.
I
am, in fact, so enthralled.
Oh, I'm so
I
happy you're
was
enthralled.
glued to my seat the entire time.
Yeah, I didn't have to put it there this time. So, we had shitty. We had shitty edgy. Now it's time for edgy.
Okay, it gets worse.
No, of course it gets worse.
It can always get worse.
Do you see the title of this story?
Oh, God.
Oh no.
That is the title.
So, I'm not
Pokemon
actually going to read this chapter.
And
Because I already read this chapter. So I'm just going to tell you the premise of this story instead. And then save you all a bunch of pain. So the premise of this story here, the monster in human skin, a Pokemon AU crossover with My Hero Academia, follows a original character known as Edgy McEdgepants, whose quirk is the ability to turn into a Garchomp, the dragon sand shark Pokemon. Everyone knows Garchomp, right?
No.
But okay.
Alright. Garchomp.
I am reading this disclaimer, and it is making me super excited.
This is the Garchomp.
That's ugly as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
That is fugly.
He's also really strong. Like, really strong. So, that's their alternate form. When they're not in their alternate form, they are a human with autism.
Get out.
Low-functioning autism.
Oh, even better.
For a moment, I thought you were just joking or just insulting them. No, did they actually say that? Oh, good.
No,
Lord.
they don't actually say it, but they do devote several paragraphs talking about how the character really enjoys this one specific robe that they stole, and how they really can't give up the robe because the robe is just really special to them. Even though it's not actually special and they know it's not, it's really special to them. Because it's their robe now, and it's really special to them, so they can't give it up. And you see, the robe is special to them, so they can't give it up. And it's a very special robe, and it's a good robe.
I'm having a fucking PTSD attack. Fucking
I'm
stop.
having a stroke.
I went to a special ed class to try to help out some of those kids, and holy fuck, they were higher functioning than the dipshit you're describing.
Yeah, and so it's like about 6 paragraphs of just him just saying this over and over again, talking about this robe and how it's like special to them, and how it doesn't make sense that it's special to them, but it is special to them, and because it's a special robe to them, and then they yeah.
Please, for the love of God, stop.
So there's a reason why I'm not reading this.
Beg of you.
But yeah, this is why I'm calling them a low-functioning autist, is because they are writing the story. So like I'm pretty sure this is a self-insert for the author. Because they do get the behaviors pretty much spot on of such people.
I was gonna say, like, that's scarily accurate.
Yeah.
Some of the kids I knew.
Yeah, they get the behaviors pretty spot on, but the problem is the author tries to play it off like, oh yeah, man, I like totally know that it's like dumb for me to do this, but it's like, let me just keep talking about it. And yeah, so it's kind of just like, Jesus Christ, just shut the fuck up. I don't want my main character to have mental issues that aren't funny or relatable.
These people,
I
if
have
they
autism,
don't have
it's
mental
so funny,
issues,
guys.
yeah, they believe if they don't have mental issues, they're not special, which is why they all claim they have them and then act like that.
Yeah, I know. Hello, Ali Hira here. While I have written Pokemon crossovers before, this will be my first A Hero Academia crossover. New fandom, I hope you enjoy my writing. However, I do have something I need to say to everyone. I am not an expert. I have never been in any of the situations that I depict in this story.
You can't transform into a Pokemon?
Yeah, this is ridiculous. I demand a refund.
I demand at least 3 different refunds.
What kind of loser can't even transform into a Pokemon?
I don't
Imagine.
know what some of the things I depict will be like. I have real life commitments, and while I might do research, it will never be enough research. However, I do want to write a story like this and all of the problematic things we need to unpack with it. If you don't enjoy it, stop reading my story. This is going to be a novel-length book with an ending. However, there is going to be a sequel. The entire story will have 32 chapters. I'll have 12 chapters written already, and I'll be posting them at the rate of once a month, every 8 of the month until finished.
Can you just not post? Can you do that, author?
Warnings. In this story, while there is going to be details, I will gloss over them, most of them. There will be gore, death, cannibalism, depression, suicide, murder, abuse, manipulation, rape, and toxic relationships.
Yes. The holy trinity of shitty fanfiction.
I'm sorry. I just find it really fucking
Holy
funny.
Trinity?
I just find it really fucking funny that this author's like, oh yeah, there's gonna be rape and murder and suicide and mean people in this story.
One of these things is not like
Like the other.
the other.
One of these things does not belong.
Does not belong.
Yeah.
You can tell him Double Sesame Street.
If any of these things trigger you, you don't have to read my story.
But otherwise, you're legally required.
Yeah,
Sneaky it, Sneaky. We don't have to read it.
you're legally required to read this story. By reading this author's note, you've signed a contractual agreement to read this story.
Fuck.
Oh, I haven't. I haven't signed shit.
You signed it with your mind and your heart.
But I didn't.
You tacitly agreed by continuing. It was the EULA.
Yeah, indeed. It said it right there.
Small issue, I am not currently reading it, therefore... No.
Joke's
It's
on
fair.
you,
It's-
I'm illiterate.
Joke's on you. Joke's on you, I can't read.
I actually got to say that to a DM one time in D&D. Because they're
You
like...
must read the troubling tome. Joke's on you, I can't read.
No, because they were like, oh, you approach this book, and as you read it, like, you know, this bad thing happens to you for reading the book. And I just kind of, like, raised my hand, and I'm like, my character is illiterate. And he kind of just pauses and is like, oh, well, you don't set off the trap then.
Sucks to be him. He jumped the fucking gun.
Audible Vine Boom.
Another great moment was in 3.5, back when you could take flaws like not knowing common. Our DM...
Flaw system was so stupid
It
and
was
also so good at the
so
same time.
good. I loved it
No,
so
it's
fucking. It
sneaky.
was so
Sneaky.
fucking good.
You could go like, oh yes, my character has a flaw where they're too perfect. That was
No.
literally a thing I know someone did in the game.
Yeah, except that's not actually a flaw.
Yeah, but
That's-
you know how some DMs and players are.
Yeah, well, that's the DM's fault if they allow that.
Yes.
So anyway, I was playing 3.5, and the DM didn't check our character sheets before starting the game.
Oh well, that's another problem. That's a fucking red flag right there if I've ever heard one.
So he's
That
like,
is unsearchable.
So he's like, you all wander into town, and I'm like, okay, I'm riding my dire wolf, I guess. And the druid's like, I'm riding my dire bear. And the 80-year-old blind shaman is like, I'm riding our minotaur barbarian. and the fifth player looks up from his sheet, looks at the rest of us. The DM looks at him and he goes, I'm a lawful good paladin.
You fool. You have doomed yourself.
So we're all chaotic neutral or neutral.
Oh no.
I mean,
Except
that's
for-
no. Here's the thing: that can 100% work, but the lawful good person has to be. What's the correct word for this? Economical with the murder.
Yeah, so anyway, the DM proceeds to have a scrap of paper fly off one of the bulletin boards set up around town, and it like flies in front of us and lands in front of us, and then he just looks at us. Because this is, by the way, IRL, so we're all sitting around a table, and he just looks at us, and we look at him.
Did he expect you to just instantly know what he wanted you to do?
And he's like, so are you going to pick it up? And I'm like, all right, sure. My character gets off the wolf and picks up the paper. He's like, are you going to read it? I'm like, I can't read comment. It's one of my flaws. And so he turns to the druid, and he's like, Druid, can you read it? And the druid goes, I can't read comment. It's one of my flaws.
Oh God!
And so he turns to the
all managed to
barbarian,
take the same
and the
flaw.
barbarian goes, I can't read common. I'm a barbarian. And he goes, right, fair enough.
Okay, well, no, he has a fair excuse. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
he's like, so finally he turns to the 80-year-old human shaman, and he's like, you can read common, of course. It's your only language. And he goes, yeah, it is my only language. And he's like, thank God. So can you read this letter? He goes, no, I can't read the letter. I'm blind.
And it's just like,
And
I
the
don't know what
DM
he expected.
And the DM is just sitting there giving us this fucking look of just like, are you for fucking shitting me?
It's just like, why is every single campaign you are in always have issues? Sometimes. It is fucking constant with you.
It is glorious with Sneaky.
So finally, after we're scrambling to try and figure out how to read this note, the shaman goes, wait! I have a cat familiar, and they can read common! And the cat familiar can read it to me, and then I can tell the Minotaur, who can tell the druid and you! Just keep in
But what
mind...
about that? Good. Why didn't he read it?
Who had the what now? The paladin?
Why didn't the paladin read it?
Because the paladin didn't live in the forest. We all lived in the forest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he wasn't there. He wasn't with the party. He was in the tavern already.
He wasn't there yet.
Y'all were in your fucking druid circle.
Effectively, yeah. And so... So we go down to the tavern, and the Minotaur looks at the tavern door, which is about 2 feet too small for him, and proceeds to punch a hole in the wall and walk through.
As one does.
Because it's
As one does as a Minotaur.
as one does as a Minotaur.
If you haven't played as a large creature and you haven't smashed down a door, then I don't know what you're doing with your life.
So the druid goes, well, there's a hole in the wall. I was going to get off my dire bear, but I'm just going to ride my dire bear inside now. And I go, well, if the druid's doing it, I'm not getting off my fucking dire wolf.
Oh my fucking god.
And so the town was eager to receive its new heroes, a bunch of mounted dipshits.
Don't worry, the mounted dipshittery gets worse.
Does it involve more bears?
It does not involve more bears. However, it does involve a vampire bartender hiring us to go kill werewolves in the sewers. Now, we didn't know he was a vampire, and my character rolled really high on whatever the perception check was back in 3.5.
Observe, I think, isn't it?
Something like that, yeah. Basically, my character figured out, because I was also playing as a ranger, my character had fucking an amazing role and managed to figure out that there was something wrong with the bartender, and that it's really weird that he was relying on a bunch of random people that just walked into his bar to go kill werewolves that were planning to assassinate the king in the sewers. So I stayed behind, and I just glared at the bartender the entire time my party's missing. So, because this is real life, the DM actually had a full-length table set up to be our map.
Nice.
And so, the events that followed were completely not my fault.
Oh boy, here we go, everyone.
So
How
I
is it
ended
not
up...
your fault? How is it not your fault? Let's fucking hear this. I am shitting on fucking bated breath. Let's fucking hear it.
What happened was,
I'm so fucking ready for this.
I ended up
boy.
intimidating the bartender too much. And so he thought that I was onto his conspiracy, which I sort of kind of was, but I didn't actually know it was a conspiracy. Because the conspiracy was that a bunch of vampires were trying to pin the werewolves for the assassination plot, while they carried out the real assassination against the king. So, he tried to flee, and so I chased him. And as I'm chasing him towards my party, the vampire innkeeper runs out into the street from the back alley, right in the way of the paladin charging on his warhorse that is armored.
No.
Okay, well, you were right. It technically wasn't your fault.
And he proceeds to roll a nat 1 on his reflex save, and the paladin proceeds to roll a nat 20 on his attack roll for trampling the guy.
He gets splattered.
And he proceeded to get one shot.
What?
Because also, the paladin is a paladin, and so therefore he took double damage.
Oh, he took that holy damage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did just paladins being paladins double damaged?
In 3.5, they were very anti-undead.
They were very anti-undead. I'm actually kind of upset that 5 drastically reduced that for some reason.
Yeah.
How did the paladin not notice the fucking vampire when they've got all the skills for, like, detect evil and all that shit?
Because you have to actively use
because he
them.
was currently chasing down at full speed the werewolf that was running away, because they let one get out of the sewers.
Yeah, but I mean, in the bar, he should have picked him up, but
Well, it didn't matter if he picked him up. The point is he ran him over, and that caused the issue.
Also, detect evil doesn't really tell you. I think it does tell you if they're undead or something.
Did it?
I think
I don't know if it did.
I think in 3.5 it just told you if their alignment was evil.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I think there is a detect undead for paladins or something like that.
Yeah. So we were only level like 3, so.
I don't remember what level it is.
Yeah. But either way, so the vampire got splattered, and the DM's kind of just sitting there like, fuck.
Yeah, moment.
So, the plot thickens. We kill the werewolves, we killed some of the vampires, and now we're breaking into this abandoned house in broad daylight, in the middle of a busy street. And I proceed to fail all of my lockpicking rolls. And the Minotaur Barbarian gets bored. and proceeds to punch the door
Oh.
in the busy street.
Ooh.
Yeah. Thankfully, the shaman has a plus 12 to their diplomacy check and managed to convince the guards that then proceeded to surround us that they were special investigators hired by the king to investigate an assassination cult. So we got away with it. And then I proceeded to start looting the house that belonged to someone in front of the paladin. And the paladin's just looking at us like, you fucking pieces of shit. Not only do I know you're all lying to the guards right now, I am watching you actively loot this poor woman's house. He's like,
Yeah, neutral moment.
So,
so he does have a moment where he's like, do I fight them on this? And then he looks at the fucking Minotaur barbarian and he's like, I'm gonna pick my battles.
Pick my battles.
wise decision.
And he proceeds to walk outside the house and act like a guard. So I proceed to steal a whole bunch of shit, and then I proceed to successfully sneak it all into the druid's backpack.
Impressive.
Yes, and the paladin was not happy when the druid went to get some food that day and pulled out a dress that was on the corpse of the person buried there.
Ooh.
I can imagine that was a fun conversation that was had later.
Druid's just like, dude, it wasn't me, I didn't take it. He's like, then why is it in your backpack? You're like, it's the fucking half-elf! And he's like, well, that's racist.
I feel like that's literally just the situation of, like, this whole story just sounds like you guys are a bunch of, like, dumbass privates and stuff like that, and he's just your sergeant, and he's just trying to keep you on a fucking leash.
Yeah, so anyway, ultimately we stop the vampire threat, and the king proceeds to bring us into his castle to congratulate us. And
no.
And then the king and then the king's like, so yeah, anyway, leave. And we're all like, wait, so you're not going to reward us? And he's like, you caused massive property destruction and terrorized the people of this town. And, you know, just blatantly broke multiple laws. You should be happy I'm just letting you leave. And so we killed the king and stole all the gold from the vault.
Oh, Jesus.
God damn it, Sneaky.
And
Of course
so,
you did.
so
Of
we
course
proceed.
you did.
So,
Of course.
so,
Of
Damn
course.
it, Sneaky.
Of fucking course you did that.
I was also...
I'm like, oh shit, I am gonna go cause a distraction, guys. You keep looting the vault. So I run out of the castle and I set fire to the slums.
Oh, God.
Good
damn
God.
it, Sneaky.
This is why you're not allowed to play goblins anymore.
I was honestly, when you said, I was expecting you guys all just to leave with no reward, but this just escalated.
Yeah, don't worry.
Whenever Sneaky does something, always be ready for it to escalate, because it will escalate extraordinarily quickly.
Oh god. So
Oh,
anyway,
good lord.
it gets worse. So
Oh,
Of course it does.
oh
so,
no.
so I set fire to the slums, and the paladin is like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And he goes to run out to go to put out the slums, because he doesn't know we've killed the king yet.
Oh, God.
And so I go back inside, and we're all fucking chucking all the gold we can into these bags, and we're just like tying down our animals with them, just bags of gold. And we're like, "Go, animals, go! Take the shaman with you. The druid, and the minotaur will cover your retreat." And the shaman's like, "Wait, before I go, let me cast enlarge."
So how'd that go?
The minotaur is 16 feet tall.
Oh god.
Enlarge makes him 32 feet tall.
Yeah?
A Minotaur,
Yeah,
when it
how'd that-
rages, gains another size.
Oh no.
So a 64-foot tall Minotaur is now currently stomping around the town as the slums are burning and the king is dead. And here's us jackasses running away with all the loot.
This fucking Godzilla.
I can imagine that words were had later.
The DM just looks at us. The DM just looks at us and he's like, "Are you fuckers done?" And we're like, "Yeah, we're done."
Are you fuckers done? Never have I heard a DM more tired than this man.
And so the DM proceeded to pull out his DMG, put it on the table, and opened up the pages to the hardness of structures. And he's like, "All right, Minotaur, start rolling strength checks. Paladin, I guess you're leading the fight against the Minotaur with the city guard. The rest of you can go to bed now because we're gonna be here for a while." Long
Yeah, that
story
sounds-
short is the 64-foot tall Minotaur barbarian killed all of the guard, stomped on half of the town, the other half burned down, and the paladin's dead. And that's how our first campaign ended in one session.
I see.
So you played chaotic stupid, gotcha.
We
Sneaky.
fucking...
Sneaky very much embodies the concept of chaotic stupid.
Hey, whoa, hold.
Sneaky.
No. I don't play chaotic stupid.
Bro, you shot the king because he wasn't giving you a reward.
Yeah. He
You know
didn't
what?
pay us.
Weren't you a druid?
I was a ranger.
Oh, never mind. Carry on then.
Yeah, it's fair.
I was like, I thought your party were all druids. You guys don't even need wealth. And you're just like, oh, I'm
No.
a ranger. I'm like, oh, okay, I see.
Yep. No, I mostly just wanted the wealth for myself, and everyone was kind of like all right with that as long as I just helped facilitate all of their wants.
Yes.
So that's fair.
So yeah. Yeah, my character made a shit ton of money, and the druid went to Disneyland, I guess, or something, and the Minotaur got to kill a bunch of people, and the shaman had never felt more alive. Being a blind 80-year-old man who just is now wanted for killing a king and burning down a whole city.
As one is.
And it's as the song goes, oh no, sucker didn't pay me. You tried to play me. Now you're gonna pay me what you owe. So it was completely justified.
City was justified.
Yes, they had it coming.
That's not how that works.
Yes, it is.
Look, we needed a distraction. They were there, so we killed them. Ergo, distraction.
It's totally distracting, yes.
Yes.
You should have taken an alignment change from that to chaotic evil.
No.
Back to the end of care.
No, we didn't do it because we wanted people to suffer. We also weren't intending to burn down the slums. I just wanted to start a fire in the slums so people would go, oh no, there's a fire in the slums, we have to go put it out. Except the fire kept spreading because it was the slums.
Because of slums.
Yeah. And the guard was in chaos because the captain was dead and the king was dead. So the reaction time was slow. And, okay, honestly, a majority of the deaths were because the Minotaur was a Minotaur barbarian who was currently bloodlusting and enraged.
Yeah.
So you really can't blame too much on him. Like, yeah, we casted the spells on him. But we also didn't think that everyone was going to try and mount a valorous last stand against a 64-foot-tall Minotaur. We thought it was just going to be one of those things where everyone screams Godzilla and runs.
Apparently not.
That was not what happened. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. And never had a campaign with that DM again.
I wonder why.
Yep.
That poor DM, you've scared him off.
A little bit. Yeah. A little bit. So, yeah, the reason why I told you guys this D&D story instead of reading the story that we've had up here instead is, because this story actually has nothing to do with Pokemon or My Hero Academia. The first half of the story is about the main character acquiring a copious amount of drugs to feed their drug habit, but they totally weren't addicted. They just needed all those drugs because they were resistant to them now.
That sounds like something a junkie would say.
And also sprinkle in a bunch of low-functioning autism. And also the main character has a realization at one point that not training their abilities just because those abilities come from a giant ugly dragon is probably a bad plan if they intend to fight an entire gang inside the gang's hideout. And they have this realization while they're fighting the gang inside the gang's hideout. But don't worry.
Great time to have that realization.
Yeah, don't worry. They suffer no negative consequences at all, and pretty much the entire fight happens off screen.
Of course.
Yeah. So yeah, she grabs more drugs. She turns off the power and beats up a bunch of people. And let's see, more drugs. And she turns into the dragon. And then she runs away with the drugs as a dragon. And then she's not a dragon anymore. And then some random weird person walks up to them and they're like, here, have this file, please sign it, it's a contract. And she's like, I can't read Japanese, but I can't let anyone else know I'm illiterate. And so she signs
So kind of like you.
And so she signs where this random guy tells her to go sign on this piece of paper. And then she's like, I wonder what my name means. It's not like I can just go ask people what my name means, because people would look at me weird for not knowing what my name means, because I'm in Japan and I don't know Japanese. And
This author is fucking dumb.
Yes. Also, they may or may not be a self-insert and or an isekai, question mark.
They definitely are.
Her boots were filled with cash, and her chest was filled with drugs. And then the author included some song lyrics because they thought it was cool. So yeah, that's the first chapter. It's not that great. Now, don't get me wrong, the spag is tolerable. And more or less, it gets pretty much everything correct. It's just unfortunately not a Pokemon story or a My Hero Academia story. It's I'm inspired by Pokemon, so my superpower is to turn into a giant dragon. Well, not giant, but like bigger than a normal person-sized dragon. And it's not really My Hero Academia because the main character is running around in the back streets robbing gangs.
Sounds more like Worm.
A little bit, yeah, except it's taking place in My Hero Academia. And as far as we're aware, Pokemon doesn't exist, and so this author is kind of playing it off as like her quirk is just totally so random and never before seen.
Also random.
Not quite, but effectively in terms of this author's capabilities of writing. They oftentimes go into autistic rants about random topics as they're sneaking into a enemy base filled with people with guns. Let's see, anything else that I can remember about the story? No, nothing useful really. Yeah, this story is pretty mediocre in my opinion. It's got a decent cold open. I will give it that. It's just that the problem with the cold open is that it cold opened into not Pokemon and not My Hero Academia. Which, when you're a Pokemon My Hero Academia crossover, is somewhat expected for you to do. Yeah. So for the last story of the night, we're gonna go into the Rubebe crossover section.
How did I know it was going to be Ruby?
I've been training you.
God damn it, Sneaky.
So this is a Fate Stay Night Ruby crossover. Oh, I think we've already read this one.
Which one is it?
For in its passing, we achieve immortality. Look, we all know what an isekai story is, and I'm sure you can guess from the tags what's involved, but just to be sure you know what's going on, the blonde noodle dies at the end of Volume 3 of Ruby instead of Pyrrha and gets isekai'd into Camelot. This is a spin-off to All the Difference in the Worlds to mark the 1-year anniversary of it, with exactly the quality you would expect of stories from me, which is none. So at least he's self-aware. And there's at least
More than
20
most.
stories with that exact name? Yes, there is. Oh, jeez. Oh, all of his stories are like this. Okay, so disclaimer, I don't own anything. No shit. Okay, so, ooh, he's got a Patreon. Let's check it out.
Oh dear.
Do we have to check it out?
Yes.
Unfortunate.
Unfortunate.
Let's see, AO3, space battles. Don't think that's the right link there.
It's not, but they do have everything posted on Space Battles as well, and I'm hoping their author's note.
Maybe they deleted it.
Yeah, it looks like they might have deleted their Patreon and said they have a coffee. They get $99 a month.
Oops.
Or no, just $99. Is that how coffee works? Is you just donate one time?
I believe so.
Yeah, they've received $99. All the Difference in the World is one of the best stories I've ever read. I literally could not put it down. And Arctoria. Oh man, it's so amazing.
So cringe.
Also,
I
That's
feel the
This is
cringe.
incredibly disgraceful that you're having the reincarnation of Jean d'Arc become the King of Britain.
It actually. Wow, actually, yeah. What the fuck? You're making a French person the king of Britain.
We've had wars
That
over
is
this, you know.
hilarious.
Although
It's not-
usually it's because England usually tends to squat on France. Because it's France.
Yeah.
France deserves to be squatted on.
Lol. Lamau,
Because it's
said the
France.
Englishman.
I could make so many jokes that would probably get me in trouble. All the Difference in the World is such a good chapter. All the Difference in the World is such good. Oh my god, All the Difference in the World is so good. Alright, well.
Thanks for letting us know.
Apparently, it's not that good if he's only making $98 for it.
Not even $98, a month. Just period in total.
Yeah, no.
Someone's actually donating $20 to Gray and I now. A month.
Nice.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Well, no, it is good because the Patreon we put up is literally just a tip jar of $1 is the minimum payment, and we have no tiers. We have nothing else. And the only thing that says for the $1 tip jar is this is a tip jar. You're not getting anything out of this. This is just for you to thank us for writing. And
Fair.
one dude just pays us $20 a month now, and like 10 other people pay us $1 a month.
Fair.
Yeah. And like Gray doesn't want to monetize it, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to run we have a server up because people asked for it, but I don't feel like putting in the work to be like, oh, if you pay us $20, you're a knight captain, and you get a special role in the Discord.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I don't do special roles.
Are you not aware of that? No, so are you not aware that's a lot of fanfiction authors do? Is they're like, oh, well, if you pay me $20, you get to buy a role in Discord.
Oh. I didn't know it was fucking $20. I knew about the whole Discord thing.
Yeah, a lot of authors put it at like $15 to $20 for a Discord role.
Okay, but why though? I know don't fucking tell me the reason why. I know the reason why. I don't know why I asked what the reason is.
Actually, I think back. I do 2 special roles. One gets you early access to content, and the other gets you that and a bag of chips, i.e., nothing else.
Fair. Fair. Let's see. So all the Difference in the World. This is what the story we just read the summary of is the original for. The knockoff AU spinoff, whatever. So this is the original story. All the Difference in the Worlds. The right man in the wrong place. Okay, so this is the one we read previously on another podcast. Unfortunately for Jean d'Arc, he finds himself in the wrong place when he pushes Pyrrha into that rocket locker and takes her place at the top of Beacon Tower during the fall. Even worse, it's not the only wrong place that awaits him. A multi-crossover where he jumps between worlds every time he dies.
So it's Quantum Leap.
Yeah, more or less. So, this story is completed. It's got 100 chapters with 5,000 words per chapter. So, credit where it's due. This dude wrote 500,000 words in a year.
Fair.
Yeah. And that's pretty much the only thing he's known for. Looking at his other stories, and they are short stories. Okay. We have an Elder Scrolls story which got decent amount of favorites as well, so it might be okay. The Unlucky Dovahkiin, How I Learned to Start Worrying and Hate My Fate. Kneeling at the executioner's block, about to be killed by his own people for the crime of being in the wrong place at the wrong time, Marius was starting to question his fate. This viewpoint was not helped when the first dragon, seen in Tamriel in Aeons, came down and almost burned him alive. Slow, silly story with terribly executed Dovahkiin times harem, featuring,
I mean, at least he's honest about it.
I'm worried
That's better
about
than
this
most
character
authors.
list.
I'm sorry, am I seeing that correctly?
Yeah, I'm worried about this character list a little bit. So the character list is Dovahkiin, Lydia, Serana. Alright.
Of course, it's fucking Lydia.
Of course, it's fucking Serana. And also Alduin.
Female Alduin, really?
I have much concern.
You know what? Okay. Let's see it.
Yep.
Honestly, with all the shit all the shit out there, like female Halloween is kind of tame.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, at that point, you're basically a World of Warcraft human form dragon as a chick.
And there's fan art about that stuff, so it's like
Okay,
it's
look,
not
so
impossible.
personally, I would if I was at gunpoint and I was told I had to read one of two stories, I would personally prefer to read a male main character with female Alduin rather than a male Alduin with a female main character, because you know exactly the sort of story you're about to read with the female main character.
Yeah,
Not going to comment
that's
on that.
got only one place.
You know exactly where it's gonna go. You know exactly what it's gonna read like. You don't even have to have read one of those stories to know. You just do.
You just know, Sneaky.
You just know.
Oh god, fuck you, Bose.
I'm sorry.
That is mentally scarring.
I know. Everyone is also scarred. Do not worry.
Don't worry.
What did you just post?
Well, who posted what now?
I'm just confused why Sign is scarred.
You just know shit.
He heard the meme and he was
Oh,
reminded.
okay. I was really fucking confused. I had been in way too many life-threatening situations to count. From rampaging bears to bloodthirsty bandits, from beleaguered legionaries to ticked-off thieves and angry assassins. But today was really taking the cake for me. Alright, so we're starting off with a highly competent adventurer main character. Alright, okay.
Or someone who's very good at running away.
Or someone who's very good at running away. You know, someone who's already used to these sort of situations is something that I can tolerate more than having to hear about for the 300th time about how they shook killing their first person.
Yeah, that is fair.
You just kill the fucker and get over it.
Fucking seconded.
Like, what people really don't get is that whole, like, oh my god, I'm gonna go into a mental breakdown because I've killed someone, really just comes from modern day / city slicker mental attitudes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Line him up against the wall.
No.
Like, you know, we have a whole chicken farm going on out here where the person takes care of their chickens. So it's like they got like a fucking 50 some chickens, and they feed them by hand every single day, and then they're like, oh well, this one stopped producing eggs, and so they just took the chicken, they bashed it over the head, chopped off its head, stripped the feathers, and just bled it out.
That's dinner.
Yeah, and it was dinner. And they're
Let me
like,
wait.
yep. And my sister was like, oh my god, I can't believe it, I can't eat that, I couldn't eat that chicken. It's like, it was their chicken. It's like, yeah, it was their chicken, aka dinner.
A chicken is a food animal, though. I feel worse about having to kill a cat the other day than I would about having to draw my CCW and put someone down if they tried to kick my front door in.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, it's just like, and obviously, trying to kill animals that we have domesticated does elicit reactions in most people of just like, well, I don't want to do that, because they're not food animals. Because
Yeah, exactly.
you kill a predator because it's a threat. You kill a food animal because you want to eat it. But if you're gonna like shoot a small cat, it's like, well, it's not
Why are
a
you doing
threat to
that?
me, and I'm not gonna eat this. And it's kind of just like, oh man.
Like,
You
why
don't-
would you just like?
When it's attacking the other animals,
Yeah, especially if you can turn it into a barn cat. That's always.
and you
useful.
can't trap it because it's gotten used to traps. It expects them. I shit you not, this fucker had been trapped and taken off before. It learned to avoid traps.
Well, so we had that same problem with we had a beaver, not a beaver. Was it a beaver? Groundhog. There we go. So we had a groundhog, and I told my family about the groundhog. Told them it was a problem. We gotta get rid of the groundhog. We gotta shoot this damn thing. And they're like, oh no, it's fine. So it digs multiple holes underneath multiple fences, and multiple of our animals get out. So
Not fun.
So we gotta go round them all up. We gotta dig a deeper hole. We gotta fill that hole with rocks, and gotta re-fence the fence. And it was a whole fucking shit show. And I tell them again, we gotta get rid of this groundhog. We gotta shoot this damn thing. And they're like, no, we're not shooting the damn groundhog. We're just gonna trap it and carry it off. So what doesn't happen? It doesn't get trapped. It doesn't get carried off, and the fucker ends up killing some of our chickens.
Nope, he gotta die now.
And so you know what my sister did in response?
What'd you do, Sneaky?
She got rid of the rooster.
What?
What?
Yes.
She got rid of a farm animal.
She got rid of the rooster because she thinks the rooster is responsible for the death of the chickens because the groundhog startled them, and so they all killed one of the chickens.
She's fucking stupid. Oh, wait, it's your sister.
Yeah, this is her sister. This is the person who is well documented to have
different
some...
sister. But yes, still.
Oh.
Yes.
Damn, you got two.
Technically 3 sisters.
You got a 22 LR?
No, technically I do, yes, but it's not in great condition.
Yeah,
I mean,
go
it's still a gun.
buy a little cheap 22 LR for a couple $100 and put a fucking bullet in the thing.
That's what I fucking said I was gonna do, but they're all like, no, you can't do that. You can't own a gun in this house. This is a no-gun house.
Yeah, you tend to just deal with that.
You got a car?
Yeah.
Keep it in your vehicle.
Yeah, I was, but then I was like, do I really want to waste money on a problem that's not mine? And the answer was no. So, they have a groundhog issue now, and it's not my problem.
Imagine not shooting a
This
varmint.
is fair. I know, right?
So anyway, next, the Renegade from Cyrodiil. That's pretty sure that's not how you spell Cyrodiil. Pretty sure it's only one I. Not crazy, right, Nose?
Cyrodiil?
Oh, so it is 2 eyes. Fair enough. Well, you know how it is.
Isn't that Dragon Age?
Cyrodiil?
Yeah.
No. You're thinking of Fagin, Faerun, Bargain.
Something, I don't. Teventer or some shit? I don't fucking
No,
know.
Tevinter's D&D, I think.
No, that's.
Oh no, that's the that's the Blood Crusaders, right?
Yes, Dragon Age.
Faradin, yes. Faradin.
So, Cyrodiil then.
Ralden. Cyrodiil is Elder Scrolls. It's the central country in Tamriel.
Yeah, okay, I remember now.
The captain called out like the Herald of Death, and for some reason the author decided to use a semicolon here. Even the sky seemed to echo those words. Somehow I knew this time wouldn't be like the other times. Not that I was in any way lacking in experience with facing death, but somehow there was just something about the sheer powerlessness I found myself in that really drove it in for me, especially on today of all days. So, author, you just used the semicolon in your narrative, but then proceeded to have a massive run-on sentence. Truly, authors are special.
Because fuck you, that's why.
Somehow, unlike every other dark time in my life, I just couldn't see any silver lining or way out of this mess. It's not fair. A repressed part of me raged. One that I had been keeping mollified for most of my life, and I couldn't find a witty comeback, a smart snark, that would convince me that it would all work out. Even in the earliest days of my childhood, words hadn't failed me like this before. And so
It's
the author
not
proceeds to
fair.
have a giant flashback showing how he's a criminal scum and an orphan and a really tough, reliable kid who managed to get food for the rest of the orphans because they were all starving because the Imperial City is a bad place to live. Also, the author proceeds to have the character in universe say devil may care attitude when devils don't exist. It's just a little nitpick.
Author is a moron.
Yes. Next prisoner, I cursed, blah blah blah, life flashed before my eyes, damn these Skyrim savages. To the block prisoner, nice and easy, blah blah blah. Now it's gonna be a flashback about how he joined the Thieves Guild. And, also the Morag Tong in the Imperial City. Yeah. Oh, no, he didn't join them. He stole from the Thieves Guild and the Morag Tong. And lived.
That does not seem wise.
Considering the Morag Tong is a bunch of assassins and the Thieves Guild is literally a continent-spanning criminal empire. No.
Yeah, that does not seem wise.
And so, yeah, we
That
get
could
treated
explain why he's
to
in-
another giant info dump flashback about how awesome this guy is. And then he steps forward and he's like, oh man, my luck's finally run dry. Blah, blah, blah. And then the dragon lands and it roars and he's like, yo, what? And so, yeah, unfortunately, it looks like this author is very much aware of what they're doing and they're trying to use the parody. They're trying to parody the tropes to make use of the tropes. To cover up the fact that they're using the tropes.
That is a level of recursion that just it doesn't track.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it myself. You know, like picking your nose and then going, haha, guys, look, ho, ho, hee, hee, look, I'm picking my nose, haha. It's like, well, buddy, you're still picking your nose, even if you're trying to make fun of nose pickers, you're still picking your nose.
It's fucking gross.
Like, just because you're making fun of the thing doesn't mean that you doing it isn't as cringe. Because he's got the first chapter. The first chapter is named an unoriginal in media res prologue. So he didn't even use in media res correctly. Because he just had single paragraph flashback scenes. Which is not in media res. But let's see if we can't find the chapter where Ermineer Boogaloo, Recruitment Drive, Daedra Dreamer, Dragon Scrolls, Dragon Rising, Alduin's Revenge. Okay, so Dragon's Fall, the Aftermath.
I'm sorry. Chapter 20, the obligatory. No.
The obligatory what? Read it out?
The obligatory moral dilemma chapter. Chapter 21, the chapter where
Oh,
questions
that's
get
better.
answered. Dragon Rising 3, Alduin's
Also, in
Revenge.
media res would be if he's turning off dick deep in female Alduin. That's in media res, goddammit.
I know, that's the point. So yeah, Alduin, Bane of Kings, the Ancient Shadow Unbound, was the first time she ever returned a very happy world leader. Okay, so this answers the questions here. Alduin started as female, even though technically
Okay.
dragons don't have a sex because they don't reproduce like that because they're just all fragments of Akatosh.
What is Akatosh female?
No, Akatosh is the dragon god of time. They are also, I guess if you were pressed to say that they had a gender, it would be a he. Because there are a few sources that refer to Akatosh as a he, and occasionally in some other religions he is referred to as Oriel, the Allfather. But being he is a large collection of energy in the shape of a giant dragon that is capable of controlling all aspects of time. And despite the fact that even in his extremely weakened state, he is capable of keeping 12 other gods from entering the world. He's really fucking strong.
Okay.
But anyway, so Alduin, the Bane of Kings, is female, and they are a very happy world eater, and they're bleeding, and they're broken, and she could feel her internal organs leaking. And she'd been horribly electrocuted, and hit by a dragon rend, and she fell 20,000 feet, and she had the hardest fight of her life. And in the span of minutes, she had been forced to fight harder, faster, and smarter than she'd ever done, ever, period, ever. And she almost entertained the fact of possibly ceding victory to her Dovahkiin. Oh boy. Kinky.
So this lewd dragon is a masochist. Gotcha.
Yes, the giant death-eating, world-ending dragon is a masochist. Even if she hadn't been captivated by him and his strength, she couldn't help but admire him. And blah blah blah, no, blah blah blah, chosen to fight the superior mind body. He fought on, blah blah blah, pushed her mood from happy to very happy. He's her Dovahkiin. Blah blah blah, she's horny for him now. She's beat up. Extremely bad. Very badly beat up. Really beat up. Like, really, really beat up. Like, imagine really beat up, and then imagine more beat up than that. That's how beat up Alduin was. She's really beat up. Have I mentioned that she's really beat up and horny for the
I
Dovahkiin.
think you neglected to mention that.
Yeah, okay, well, she's beat up and horny for the Dovahkiin.
Could you clarify to what degree is she beat up?
Quite beat up. Covered in blood, scars, broken bones. That didn't stop her from walking towards the Dovahkiin, though.
Okay.
Yeah. And then she tries poking the dead body of the Dovahkiin, and she's like, "Oh shit, did I accidentally kill him? No, I don't want him to die. He was fun to fight." And so she used her dragon soul to shout the soul back into him. And then she couldn't do it though, because she roared in frustration instead of shouting his soul back into him, because Parthenax showed up to attack her.
Of course he did.
Blah blah blah. Not all was lost. Alduin still had a way to be reunited with Dovahkiin. Another perk of being the firstborn was the exclusive birthright of the ability to travel to Sovngarde. Previously, she only treated this place as a source of food and energy. Dovahkiin had fought with overwhelming odds and bravery, so therefore they were probably getting to Sovngarde, which means all she had to do was go to Sovngarde and wait for him.
So I gotta interrupt and just to ask, because my Skyrim lore is iffy. Isn't the Dragonborn technically supposed to go back to Akatosh because their soul's a dragon or something?
Yes.
Okay, just had to ask.
You
I had to
sure?
check.
Yeah, that's actually why in the in-lore reason as to why you're capable of being the champion of all of the Daedra. Because normally being the champion of one Daedra would pretty much bar you from several other Daedra of even, like, acknowledging your existence. Or at minimum trying to kill you for being the champion of a Daedra that is, you know, counter to their philosophies. Is that they all recognize that you're the Dovahkiin, and they don't want to fight Akatosh for your soul. So they're kind of just like,
So they just
fuck it, yeah, sure, here, have a powerful item. I'll just get it back
and they get you
eventually.
to do some favors.
Yeah. More or less, yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, Alduin's really beat up and still horny. And then we go through this giant thing I couldn't be fucked to read, and because it's some sort of italicized, you know, like news report or some sort of like flashback or some shit. And then we transfer back over to the Dragonborn. And he's like, "Oh wow, that ethereal side effect of me turning bluish, wore off because I used the become ethereal shout to not take fall damage." Blah blah blah. And then he awakens, and his giant harem is there. All right, so what's his harem again? I just saw it. Lydia, Jordis, and Serana. Who the fuck is Jordis?
No one important.
I don't even remember.
Jordis the Sword Maiden is a house carl given to you by Elsif the Fair of Solitude.
Yeah, no one important. I fucking
Oh,
know
it's-
life Skyrim for a while and I don't remember her.
So literally nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, still better than Lydia.
I'm sworn to carry your burdens.
And uh
I didn't even have house calls. Just no companions whatsoever. Soloed that shit.
Her name can be translated to mean sword, so her name is Sword the Sword Maiden. Okay, Kirito.
sounds Nord.
It sounds very Nord, yeah.
That is fair.
Also, apparently you can turn her into a vampire if you are part of the vampires.
I'd rather just take the vampire waifu and be done with it.
Yeah, I was never a big fan of the vampire faction. I always thought they were pretty cringe. We're gonna blot out the sun because sun is bad. And
Yeah, that is pretty fucking dumb.
Yeah.
But vampire waifu is cute, so
Yeah. See, that's why I take the waifu and I kill the other ones.
absolutely makes perfect sense.
Yeah, exactly. So they're all horny for him. He's using colons now in the middle of dialogue. Very cool. Why is everyone surprised that I am awake? Because you battled the World Eater. Marius, everyone knows that you battled the World Eater. Jarl Elsif the Fair says she won't sell you out to the Thalmor as long as you fuck her.
Alright.
Oh, okay.
Sounds fair to me.
That's... Sure. Resting in High Hothrar, Parthenax fled the scene, ran away. Parthenax is a dragon. Blah blah blah. I woke up. Blah blah blah. Injured that badly. You were dropped off. Your armor was welded to your back. We could see through your sides. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so yeah, basically Alduin's horny for him. When he goes to fight her again in Sovngarde, she's gonna fucking have sex with him or something. I don't know.
But she's still a dragon.
Yeah.
She was supposed to turn into a cute girl.
Let's see. Return of the Dovahkiin. Let's see here. Yeah, so apparently this dude likes cutting his chapters in half by having these giant, like, news stories that are just basically these massive time skips.
Fucking lazy.
Alright, so he went off and did the, Uh-huh. Okay, so he's in Sovngarde. Uh-huh. Alduin's doom is now ours to seal. Speak the word and we'll all go fight him. Drive away the mist. Uh-huh. Lark for cool, blah blah blah. The mist, blah blah blah. Alduin shows up. She lands with grace. Blah blah blah. I blast her with fire, and she's like, "Oh my god, it's you!" And she's like, "Oh man, Dovahkiin, I'm so happy you're here. I want to fuck you really badly." Um. I am pleased that you continue to exist. Your bravery must be commended, even at the height of the slaves' rebellion. Fine slave you would have made. I would never be your slave. Of course, you would never be my slave. You're my Dovahkiin. You're too strong and proud. Can you not leave Skyrim be? You cannot win against me. I will not submit while I'm victorious. So be it. I will stop you. I will humble you. And she's super pumped at these words. So yeah, apparently very horny. And she's like, "Holy shit, you smell like a dragon now." And he's like, "Oh, it's because I'm using the dragon aspect shout." Yep, so they're fighting. I mean, look, I will give credit where it's due. The guy's dialogue, his delivery, and the overall spag of the story is, I would say, maybe an 8 out of 10. There's some moments where he's using some really weird tensing and some odd punctuation that I'm just kind of questioning and scratching my head at. But overall, I mean, it's nothing too bad.
I'm sorry, what? I fell asleep.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, so they beat the dragon. They beat Alduin now?
I suppose.
If you say so.
Right, so they beat Alduin, and then Akatosh shows up, and he's like, "Alduin, go to horny jail."
Horny jail with you.
What?
To horny jail with you.
Well, don't make me bonk you.
And so, Alduin gets put into horny jail.
Alduin, the great deceiver, you are forever banned from the nations of men. You are now banned to holy.
Screwed up, hind
Horny
legs, gold light, lost his form, orange fires, we all blew away, vortex above. Okay. So, does she show up and do the horny to him? Okay, so, yeah, so Alduin wakes up as a mortal.
As a mortal or as a human?
As some mortal. I don't know what race she woke up as. Possibly a Dunmer.
Yes, the most powerful class, the racist.
Nodding as a form of acknowledgement, she supposed she should not be surprised that they were reaching Raven Rock now. Through her connection to the time stream, she found herself here under Father Akatosh's instruction, and said she recalled what she was told to do. In the waning years of the fourth era of Tamriel, a prisoner born on an uncertain day to certain parents will be sent to Raven Rock with an explanation of the role she was to play in Empire's history. That was, shit, the Raven Rock expansion. That was,
Mirak?
No.
No, that's Solstein.
No, Raven Rock. I want to say it's Morrowind, but I feel like it's earlier than Morrowind. The fourth era. Red Mountain Blast. Escape Skyrim. Yeah, so no, the fourth era. If we're talking about the fourth era here, and the waning years of the fourth era. So near the end of the fourth era, at the start of the fifth era. Is that Blood Moon? Yeah, you know what? It probably was Blood Moon. Yeah, so it was Morrowind. Okay. Alright. Alright. Something, I guess. I don't know.
It is a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's Desidala in Dragon is the Destroyer returns. Interpret how you will. This is not damage control. This is something I've planned since the start. Okay, so literally after story, keeping promises, final after story, brief closing, disappointing, dubiously canon teaser, unwanted trailer that spoils everything. Okay, so in the sequel that's never gonna happen, Alduin finally has sex with the Dovahkiin. So we just got blue balled hard. Because this dude stopped writing Skyrim and Elder Scrolls stories and started writing Ruby stories. What a swap.
Oh, the tragedy.
It was. What a tragedy indeed. Oh, God. So, have you read any Can Cole stories since? At all, Sign?
No, I've avoided them.
Yeah. Honestly, I recommend you keep doing so, aside from ours, of course. Because a very popular trend, unfortunately, in Can Cole stories is when you're doing the whole, I've woken up as a ship girl thing. Is to have the character refuse to believe they're a ship girl, despite subconsciously knowing everything about being a ship and operating all of the machinery on a ship and how to do ship stuff. And then they panic when they shoot someone, which is usually an abyssal, and they're like, oh my god, I have to go save them now. And then they have like a small PTSD scene where they go into shock over having killed someone. And pretty much every single Isekai Can Cole story has this.
Your sense of body, you know, like you know where your arm is. In the same way, in this setting, you know you're a ship.
Yep.
You can't deny it the same way you can't deny you have a right hand unless you know you happen to be missing that.
Or missing a piece of your brain. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wait, you're saying these authors are lobotomized. Gotcha.
I mean, most of the writers are pretty lobotomized with how they write their stories. It's a lot of their stories are really fucking bad, let me tell you. They are really, really bad. Quite a number of authors try and do the whole trans thing of like, oh, I'm so glad I'm a ship girl now. I always secretly wanted to be a girl. A lot of the authors I've seen do really cringy stories where they're like, oh, because I know what Can Cole is, I'm the only one that can change things, and I'm gonna kill everyone in my way to save the world, or I'm gritty.
Just know more about.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you want to do a gender flip story, okay, fine, that's fine. But at least give your characters some kind of, I don't know, trauma or fucking regret over this. Like, some impetus to change back.
I don't know. I'm of a mixed bag on that. I've always found stories where the character is overly focused on quote-unquote going home or returning things to what they are to be kind of annoying in the end. Usually because the author ends up carrying it on for too long. But, because it's always just like, oh, I'm this, it's not even an isekai. It's just character ends up in a completely different world. There is, as far as they're aware, no way for them to get back. So they spend the next half of the story bitching, whining, and moaning about wanting to go home, and like chasing quote unquote every lead possible to try and figure out a way home. But ultimately, obviously, never turning anything up because no one knows anything about how to get him home, or any sort of magic or items or anything that would do that. And so it's kind of just like,
Yeah,
it's just old to me, I guess you could say.
yeah. That's fair, but that is a completely different animal from wanting to get your dick back.
I don't know. I actually think that that's actually a worse scenario, because at least a scenario in where you wake up in another world and there's magic and shit going on, and you could be like, okay, well, feasibly, if I woke up on another world due to magic, then there should be magic on this world to put me back, which is like, all right, what, fair enough. But if you're waking up yes, there's that. But if you're waking up in Cancol and you're like, oh shit, I'm a ship girl, there's really nothing in Cancol that would even remotely be able to undo any of your arrangement. Like, you couldn't even become a human again. You couldn't even, become a male again. You couldn't become, you couldn't go back to your world. So there's like, I don't know. I put it in the same category as people who supposedly are now ship girls still screaming about killing someone, even though they're supposed to be filled with the souls of a bunch of hardened soldiers who died on the front field of battle. So, there's that. I mean, obviously,
Fair enough.
I can understand a freak out, just, like a, first chapter, you're allowed to freak out and be like, yo, what the fuck? I don't want to be a girl. Yo, this is fucked up. Like, okay, fair enough. But, just a continuous multi-chapter, wah, I miss my dick, wah, I want to go home, kind of is like...
In a setting where it is possible to change that and you're not forced to accept it,
Right.
You should really work on changing it.
Yeah, and in that scenario, I can sort of understand it. Doesn't mean I don't get tired of it, but I can understand it. I'm the only one that can save things. Ah, yes, the Japanese naval victories. Yes. If you shoot a human with a 14.5-inch gun, saving them isn't going to be an issue. Yeah, that's also true.
No, you could save them in Tupperware.
That implies there's enough pieces left.
That implies you can find the pieces.
Fine mist. Maybe a perfume bottle. But yeah, no, Cancol stories are unfortunately a very cringe bag, because you also have a lot of stories where they usually it ends up being an isekai, but not always, of an abyssal girl, and they're always like, oh, I'm this like hyper rare abyssal girl who's like a super version of an already existing abyssal girl, except I'm totally incompetent and I'm terrible at fighting, and I get bullied by all the other abyssals until suddenly one day I'm not bullied by all the other abyssals because I now have an army, and then the story dies because the author doesn't know what the fuck they're doing with the story, and so they lose interest.
Okay, first of all, you wouldn't have an army, you'd have a navy. Secondly, a lot of that sounds familiar. I made that before.
Hey, I did not lose interest, and neither did Gray. It's just we have 8 to 5 jobs, so
Yeah.
we just actually have other things we actually need to do. So,
Yeah, that's fair.
But oh my god, dude, like some of them are so fucking cringe. I'm remembering one Abyssal Girl story where it was an isekai where the main character spawned in as an installation princess, which means they are a base. Instead of being a ship girl, they're a base.
They're a base girl. Okay, she's pretty based. Gotcha.
And then proceeded to become schizophrenic and a Nazi, and dress all of her fairy spirits as gas mask wearing SS officers.
Okay, I'm with you so far.
And then so they were trans.
Ugh,
And they
nasty.
had a soliloquy about why men are evil.
As one does, obviously.
I know what else was going on in that story. Let's see. Oh, right. And then one of the Abyssal princesses came to her and was like, yo, hey, I need new weapons and you're a research installation, so you should give me new weapons. And she was like, okay, sure. Here, have these hyper-oxygenated torpedoes, which is an actual thing, and it's something we, I believe, ultimately didn't really carry on doing for too long, because hyper-oxygenated torpedoes were, while very effective, tended to be very volatile and dislike being in a highly pressurized environment, and
Like Scream.
exploded. And so she hands off these highly oxygenated torpedoes to the Abyssal Princess, and then proceeds to spend like the next 5 chapters bitching and whining and moaning about how she's doomed hundreds to thousands of new Abyss girls to be spawned and suicide bombed into the enemy, simply because she wanted to clap on this Abyssal Princess for daring to order her around to give her weapons. And so yeah. And then the story died. Because
That sounds pretty fucking cringe.
Like, fucking
yeah.
hell, that's just boring. Like,
Yeah, and then the author got really angry at everyone who was like calling them out for just making a really boring and cringy story, and for all this, and like the author was trying to retroactively self-justify as the chapters went on in response to the comments that people were making in the forum.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds about right.
Yes, the whole thing was a fucking shit show.
I just find it kind of hilarious. It's like, you're this eldritch thing. To an extent, I could tolerate a fic where the story about them retaining some level of their humanity, but at the same level, it's like, you're an inhuman creature. There should be some effects of warping what mentality you had.
No, that's the thing about Abyss
Most
Girls.
authors can't map that.
No, that's the thing about Abyss Girls is that there's supposed to be these amalgamations. Yeah, amalgamations. There's supposed to be these amalgamations of the rage and hatred and despair and other negative emotions, you know, collecting around the singular idea. Which is why, you know, Tanya is, acting a little bit weird in our story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, you're doing it fine. Like, I have no issue with you doing it, but it's like, for at least for a fanfic, I could tolerate a basic idea where it's like, okay, fine, you're an abyssal who has some level of your old life's humanity, but it's like there's a point where you have to kind of go, there needs to be some level of negativity to fit. Otherwise, you're kind of being.
I did like how Salvage did it, and where the character wasn't a bundle of negativity, but they were also incredibly sociopathic and maybe a little bit psychopathic, where they would not blink an eye at like drowning other ship girls, just like you know because they were submarine, so they would jump out of the water and jump onto the ship girl while in their ship form and basically forcefully sink the enemy ship girl
Wow.
Yeah, no, I that's fair. Like, I can see that.
And they
That's
they
not
did a
unusual.
whole bunch of really fucked up shit, and they just kind of like the way the author wrote it was like this character just didn't have that mental process of like, oh, what I'm doing is, possibly a negative thing, because they're like, oh well, they were a problem, so I took care of the problem. That's a problem solution done. Why is everyone freaking out and crying and scared of me?
That sounds like a Tanya problem.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a Tanya-ish story, yeah. Yeah, a little bit. She does a lot of salvaging, which is hence the name.
Is this the one where she like made a composite abyssal? Like,
Yes, where she took a bunch of parts from other abyssals and slammed them all into one abyssal that was mostly intact, and then poured her crew into that abyssal and turned it back on. Yes.
And it worked?
Oh, it worked, yes. Because, again, you got to keep in mind, abyssals are, unlike ship girls, are functionally more like amalgamations of hatred and rage. The reclass, for example, is semi-canonically actually 3 ships mashed together, which is a battleship, a carrier, and a destroyer. And their actual quote-unquote ship form is like this mass of tentacles and flesh, and those 3 ships kind of amalgamated all together in this giant, like, eldritch blob.
It's an abomination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So technically, what the author did was just take what is semi-canon and make it fanon for their story.
Fair.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to be skimping heavily off of their notes. I even contacted them, and they sent me even more of their notes for this purpose. Hence, some of the shit we have had Tanya do already, and we're going to have Tanya do, like shoot enemy ships with a battleship's worth of magic cores. She's gonna shoot enemy ships with a dehydration spell and kill everyone on board those ships, and then reanimate their bodies using her own crew. It's yeah.
We're taking over your ship now.
It's just an extreme version of a boarding party, except you skip the part where your people die.
Where's that meme of "I'm the captain now"?
Yeah, look at me, I'm the captain now. Yeah,
Look
just
at me. I
slap
am the
Tanya's
captain now.
face on there. Yeah. Yeah, so I think we can end it here. We talked about a bunch of shit, talked about fanfiction, talked about good shit, bad shit, all that stuff in between. We actually stayed mostly on topic today. I'm very proud of everyone here. And if you haven't noticed yet, it's because Atin's not here.
Yeah, blame it.
BT about. So anyway, everyone, we will see you all next time on Friday. And now I will also be skipping next week, as I will be not at my setup. I will be in Florida instead. Eating expensive food with money that isn't mine. So
Best way to eat.
exactly. And we'll see you all next time, because there is always more, and it does always get worse.